New York's Attorney General has filed a lawsuit against ExxonMobil, claiming that the company defrauded shareholders by downplaying the risk of climate change to its business. Judge Napolitano is here. I call this a politicized money grab and bogus, and you say?
You're being charitable.
Thank you.
So it's 96 pages of gobbledygook, which basically argues that because ExxonMobil did not reveal the true costs of sources of fuel in the earth that it can't use, because the federal government won't let them drill to it, because it has intentionally underestimated the cost of the loss, it has defrauded shareholders. This is nothing but a $200 million lawsuit that it will cost ExxonMobil to defend if it survives a motion to dismiss. And who gets the cash if the plaintiff wins?
Tell me.
The government of the state of New York.
It's a money grab.
It's absolutely a money grab.
This is not the job of the Attorney General of the state of New York.
Correct, and it's the worst type of litigation. It's a shakedown, and that's how it will end. They won't litigate it, and it won't go to a jury. Exxon will decide how much can we pay to get this beast, the government of the state of New York, off our backs.
They'll be forced to settle?
Yes.
Forced to pony up some money?
Well, it might be cheaper to settle than to litigate, so they're going to make a business decision. If it costs $200 million to litigate and they can settle for $100 million, it's kind of obvious what the answer is.
What a disgraceful use of the American judicial system.
Yes,
in
it
my
is.
personal opinion.
I hope it's a widespread opinion after this conversation we're having on your show, because it is just not the reason that litigation exists for these kind of shakedowns. In a state like New York, the government has far more serious things to worry about.
As you can see, just to my right here,
yes,
we have Senator Kennedy, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and a former judge himself. What do you make of this
Well, I'm assuming, Stuart, the Attorney General is suing under the Securities and Exchange Act, and if he is, that's an abuse of our securities laws. And to me, it's another example of an Attorney General asking a judge to make policy that ought to be made by the legislative body. Now, this is not, judges are supposed to tell us what the law is, not what the law ought to be. And if we want to debate climate change, it ought to be done in front of the people and the people's representatives, not in a courtroom.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. Stay with us, please. I want more from you.
I'm sure the senator knows what a liberal government we have here in the state of New York.
I want to know what he's doing in New York.
Well, your state motto is, I think, if you can dream it, we can tackle it.
That's good.